Hi, I'm Greg Miller, founder of Dance Parade New York, and you're tuning into So Booking Cool.
It's so motherfucking cool to listen to So Booking Cool.
Welcome to So Booking Cool, it's Jewel B. Today's guest spent over a decade as a leader at multiple Fortune 500 companies before becoming a leader in festivals and dance. He founded the Dance Parade, known as New York City's biggest dance celebration. He consults for nonprofits and serves on the advisory board for the likes of Neville Dance Theater and more. May 16th, the cultural staple Dance Parade with the theme of The Beat Goes On will celebrate 20 years. Here with us today, he is Greg Miller. Stay tuned for our conversation, only on So Booking Cool.
Hi there. Yeah.
Hi. Hi.
Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you. Do you want to be called Greg or Mr. Miller?
Oh, by all means, Greg. I think Mr. Miller is sometimes my father, but never me.
Okay. I get that. I kind of thought you might say that, but I have to, check in and see it. All right.
Appreciate respect. Yeah.
Mhm.
Thank you.
When was the last time that you danced, Greg?
About 2 hours ago. Uh, it's a busy time before Dance Parade, May 16th. We have about a month to go, but I made the effort to go to St. Mark's Church this morning in the Lower East Side of Manhattan to participate in a five rhythms class, which was a beautiful celebration, a movement practice that I've been doing for 22 years. And I just needed to kind of get grounded and treat myself to a little joy this morning. So it's quite a community, five rhythms, and they'll be in the parade. So we're excited to have a wild, 300 strong group on a parade float, among many others.
Woo, that is amazing.
Yeah.
When did you fall in love with dance?
I lived in Asia. I was probably a little shy and I needed a few drinks to be okay at a wedding or something. But it wasn't until I lived in other cultures where it was really a part of of how they grew up. And I don't think we have that in the mainstream here as much, right? And so it took me a while to get over just being inhibited. Um, and and that's what the practice I do is about. Nobody cares. And there's just no way to do it right or wrong. You just kind of have the joy and the oomph of moving.
Where do you think that common fear comes from for people when it comes to dancing?
It's probably status quo. Kids are great when they grow up and they just get so excited when they have music and stuff, but there's a certain age and it hits you and you're like, "Oh, I shouldn't be like that." Or I'm a boy. I it's dancing's for girls or and we see that in some classes that we do because we have a whole education program to get dance into schools and community centers. And it's largely the girls who are participating, unless it's like a martial art or hip hop or something cool. And I think that's what we have to offer is like there's so many different ways to be cool or not to be cool or just to be in the event. So yeah, we're hoping we can change things with not being intimidated by dancing in the street in front of thousands of people.
I'm sure that you have, but yeah, there's more of that to come. You
Hmm.
believe that dance is a fundamental right. When did you start to see life this way and why?
Yeah, so it for me personally, it became a part of understanding other cultures, and it's like a language without words in a way. It tells
Mhm.
stories. It's a part of a lot of legacies for very old traditions. Um, Part of the idea that it's our right it came along with how we started the parade, which was really about the cabaret law in New York City, that required venues to have a license for dancing. And they said you had a right if you had a license. And a lot of the organizers were like, that's not right. Everybody should be able to be in a cafe, a bar, a restaurant. If they clear a few tables away, you should be able to enjoy movement. But there were signs all over New York City that said no dancing. And it just felt like, oh my gosh, that's an infringement on our rights. And in 2006, there was a court case brought on by four groups of dancers to the state Supreme Court, and they were suing the city because they felt all these different forms of dance, it was their right to be able to move.
And then at what point in life did you decide that you wanted to start Dance Parade? I know you had exposure to culture and, dance, but yeah.
It was soon after that historic court case in 2007. So we were at the time I was involved in a group that wanted to really do an information campaign about this ongoing law that restricted dance that affected so many communities. We had a dance marathon to try to get attention for the dance. It was a 24-hour marathon on the coldest day of the year, outdoors in a park across from the state Supreme Court, Madison Square Park. And they weren't sure if they were going to win the case. There were all these white men as judges. I'm sure none of them knew what dancing was like. I could be wrong. That's an assumption, but we didn't know what to do next. I was like, we have to do something bigger. Come on, guys. Dance parade. There's an art parade. Let's do a dance parade. And my team at the time, they were like, well, that's a lot. How do we do parade moving stages with audio and all? It's just a lot. And instead of, you know, disagreeing strongly, I kind of went my own way. We started another team to do Dance Parade in 2007. And those original organizers that were about the information campaign, they did a theatrical part of being in the parade, which was really sweet. They had like a moving jail that would suck in dancers, and they had like disco balls chained to their legs. Dancing is not a crime t-shirts and things like that. So that was the original impetus, kind of like a deeper purpose than just dancing. It got worldwide attention. Headlines were like Dance Revolution and things like that. And it wasn't just our beginning of this revolution. There were groups before us, dozens of groups that protested in various ways, and it's still a movement to support nightlife. So even though we got rid of the cabaret law in New York City, 2017, there were zoning reforms that were needed to allow dancing that didn't change until 2024. There's still a state liquor authority restriction on dancing as well. And all of that is documented on legalizedance.org, our advocacy website for this movement, this literal movement. And it's fun. You can see like some of the historical videos. The Dance Liberation Front before us, they had masks and they were like, we're gonna come do the hokey pokey in your neighborhood. We're gonna dance. Who are you to tell us that we can't dance? What is dance anyway? Didn't Martha Graham blow that away with a lot of her contemporary modern, things? And it's interesting. It really is a movement. They have nightlife mayors now supporting nightlife in Europe and in the States. And it really is, in New York City alone, 400,000 workers are in nightlife. And so the city is seeing it now as something to protect. And dancing is a part of that, from from the cultural community. So it's been a ride, Jewel. It's been really special to be able to be a part of this.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
Hmm.
Although it might seem obvious, Greg, what are some of the benefits that come with people dancing?
Well, I can say for my practice, which isn't about getting things right. I did a class at Paul Taylor with Maggie Fisk, as a dance cardio class, and I just couldn't get it right. I was like, step to the right, I'd go to the left, and I was But this morning when I could finally like just have joy and go to the rhythm, um, there is you feel great. You feel great when and I think it's mo half because of the endorphins that are firing. You get this kind of runner's high, when you do that aerobic activity. And it's calming. It makes you present. It helps you uh it relieves stress, really. And I think there's social aspects of it that doctors are saying it'll allow you to live longer in life. It's that X factor that it's not just diet, nutrition, but they say older adults benefit from having connection and dancing is a great form of social activity that allows that to happen.
Do you think that people should get comfortable with dancing like privately, like the whole dance like nobody's watching before dancing socially?
That's a great question. Um, I don't know. With a lot of things that you want to change about yourself, sometimes the more you think about it, the worse it gets. Like, yeah, all right, I'm gonna practice before I'm out there. I think you just got to jump sometimes and try it, and that's what Dance Parade's about. It's a participatory event. Anybody can join any number of 160 groups. So you take a look at the website danceparade.org and you select house music. And then, oh, Timmy Regisford, like one of the world famous house music stars, and join his Disco Kitty float. Or you're a salsa person, or you just like the music. Doesn't mean you have to do the steps right. And I think for some people, like, oh, it's performative, but you get over it. You get over it because the joy overcomes you and you're just a part of it with like, the way everybody else is. So I tell people, don't watch the parade, dance in the parade.
Mm. Oh, yes, I like that. Is there anything that people would be surprised to know about what goes into the dance parade?
Yes,
Hmm.
absolutely. In so many ways. The grant writing, the insurance policies, having like eight different ones that kind of conflict with each other, or the city coordination. Um, it's often a given just that you think, oh, you just have an event or the city makes it happen. Um, it's a nonprofit that has to be, stand up to rigid guidelines about how to, operate to the public good, to the benefit of society. So, um, yeah, the coordination. For example, people think, oh, there's a parade, you just get a permit. But on Tuesday, we have a coordination with no less than like 10 city agencies. They have to reroute the buses, they have to clean the streets. There's construction at like things in the street. You have to remove that. There's just countless things that we all take care of, and it is a huge group effort, public partnership, public-private partnership with the city, and yeah, I think that is I've learned so much, in 20 years doing this. Um, there's a lot of special things. I just looked on my bulletin board here, and I
Mhm.
just pulled down this little postcard of this is an actual sculpture in the desert. And there's people that will construct the most crazy art vehicles you've ever seen. So um, that is a hidden secret sometimes. The secret behind Disco Kitty, which is this big cat that's going to be in the parade with a tail that goes over its head and a disco ball hangs over a little dance floor for 20 people to dance to. I'm
Nice.
sure there's lots of secrets. If you ping me in different ways, I'll probably reveal something.
What does that picture, when you look at that picture, what do you feel?
I feel like a sense of awe because the that is a picture, it's art in the desert. Um, it must have taken so much planning to not just come up with the creative aspects, but to make it work. And I think, art usually happens in a studio. Someone is going from their brain to their paintbrush to the canvas. But then when you involve materials and elements, and then getting them compliant to the laws of driving an art car down the city through the city streets, it's there's a lot there. So I just like a lot of times when I see art, I just have this sense of awe and wonder, and inspiration about what else can we do, right? Like, wow, this is so interesting to kind of lean into this project or that project. Um, I sometimes work with a lot of lawyers, and I respect lawyers so much, but I often feel there's a difference. Lawyers are trained to argue and break things and win, but artists are trained to collaborate and create and lift up, and so there's this, yin and yang kind of thing that can happen in public art. And yeah, it's just inspiring. I love seeing the possibility of what humans can create.
It definitely seems like it. Is there anything from your time as a Fortune 500 manager, your time during those days that you have brought with you to Dance Parade?
Yeah, I was originally working in corporate finance, so dealing with budgets, having respect for accounting and things like that, and doing marketing and also untraditional marketing, which will be fun to try. Getting Disco Kitty to go around New York City the night before the parade to see if we can get away with that.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and that's the way, Alvin Ailey, the historically black dance choreographer, um, got contemporary dance into the public. They had like the Jazzmobile, which was like this flatbed truck, and their dancers would go to the Bronx and Harlem and Queens, bringing dance to the community. It was just incredible. Um, and so as a corporate person, I guess, yeah, the finance. So one of my things that I got to do in my corporate work was look at a lot of data, like work with data mining and large. I worked for an airline, for example, and looked at sales segmentation strategies of like who flies from New York to Tokyo. Do they stop in San Francisco and go to Tokyo? Like, where's the business coming from? And and it just left me with these abilities to look at large data and deal with large data, and we do that with the parade. So we have these thousands of dancers, and we not only organize them with the parade order in the parade, pretty easy. But the festival after the parade, where the parade ends, we have 5 stages, and so it's just logistics to get people from A to B, and using some nerdy stuff with Google Sheets and JavaScript to push a button to create the schedule and things like that, which is we wouldn't be able to do a lot of what we do without some of those kind of data strategies. And it sounds nerdy, but I did get that from my background. Um, and then budget forecasting is like this thing in finance that you do when budgeting is easy. You say, okay, we're going to spend this much, but then what about the rest of the year? How do you deal with the actual reality of like, okay, we need to get this expensive insurance policy because of this thing happening. How are we going to pay for that? Like, you have to kind of like have a plan for the future. And that's what I learned for working with like Revlon and Cablevision, the Japanese airline. Um, so I'm grateful for my past. It was kind of like nerdy, but I really like the nonprofit people that I work with. So I'm not going back to corporate life anytime soon.
What do you have to say to people who really have a passion for the arts, but it seems out of reach, or they maybe feel like they can't really support themselves or anything, but they know that this is their calling. What do you have to say to them, Greg?
Mm. We see a lot of groups that use Dance Parade as a platform to be further amplified. Um, so it depends, I suppose, on the type of art. But if you really have a calling, don't give up. Do it. You don't have to make money from it. A lot of people feel like, oh, I need this identity of as a working artist. But if you love something, get a job in the daytime and do your art at night. And that's what I did with the corporate stuff early on. I started supporting as a volunteer, working for festivals, supporting as a volunteer, just passing out flyers, or you can do a lot to still be in touch with the art that you love. Unfortunately, this country doesn't fund the arts the way I think it should. Um, and that's a whole other conversation, but like I would networking is really important. So one of my favorite podcasts, I heard something where the guy said, you know, if you're an artist, go to art shows, meet people, tell them about your art. That's an incredible thing to do is it's a skill to connect to people and you got to do your basics with like having a business card or having you can do the technology thing with the QR code on your phone or something. But you need to network as a really important way. And social media is something I don't do enough of, but amplifying your work through your channels, either with people or online is really important.
20 years of Dance Parade. What is the greatest challenge that you've overcome that you're proud of, and what is your proudest moment of Dance Parade?
We do 3 things. So each of those 3 things, there's milestones. So we do the advocacy, which is like the fight against the government, against this movement to like suppress dance. We have to stand up and go to testimonies, um, trying to get community to work together to sign a petition and things like that. So when you have a milestone like in 2017, we were on stage with Bill de Blasio. He took all the credit for him repealing the cabaret law, but he gave us a pen. Each person got a pen with his little signature there on the pen, and it was kind of cool. You felt proud. that this team of partners, worked together and repealed things. Um, Education feels really great right now because we have a partnership with the Department of Youth and Community Development made possible through our partners at the NIA Community Services Network, which is a community-based organization in Brooklyn. And we doubled the number of programs going to schools and older adult centers. And that feels incredible, that we have two full-time employees that are like just facilitating these really good quality programs that end. Imagine like learning dance for 10 weeks or 20 weeks and
Hmm.
then bringing it to Dance Parade as your final project. If you're like 10 years old, it's gonna feel so great to like, okay, this is what I learned in class. I'm with my people, I'm with my school. Um, yeah, it's gonna be an amazing accomplishment for those kids, but to be able to see how, we're now affecting about 2,000 of these participants, um, for with giving them lifelong memories, that feels really good. So that's a milestone there. And then I think the 20th year, it really is something to see. There's all kinds of like um, performing arts high schools involved. LaGuardia is the famous one, but there's also one from East New York. Um, Ballet Tech, a lot of they're very prominent organizations that produce a lot of great work. And to be able to see them in the parade and on stage at the festival after is going to be really special. So my goal is to try to plan so I don't do anything and I can just kind of sit down and watch everything happen, but it never happens that way. I'm always putting out fires. But but it's really fun and great to meet with people. I actually would say also a milestone was working with Eric Adams, the former mayor. We had a great relationship. He saw the problem, and with the zoning laws, he created something called the City of Yes that revised a lot of the zoning and made it possible to have more low income housing, as that which I really respect. Um, and he saw the health benefits of dance. So having him at press conferences was really great. Felt like a milestone. Yeah.
So we want to see Dance Parade run for another 20 years. And if so, what do you want it to look like?
Yeah. Wow. That's what I'm going to have to sit down with my board and talk about in our annual meeting, the third Monday in June. But we have a 5-year plan that includes getting dance on television. And I know TV is not so much a platform in marketing and advertising and things as it used to be, but I think it would mean a lot to have each group pass through the grandstand in Astor Place doing their 40 seconds of we can't give them longer because it would hold up traffic for Lower Manhattan. But but to have those 40 seconds captured on television so their friends and family at home could see it, or we document it already and they get this video that they can use for their marketing or their grant making purposes. But I think TV would be a huge accomplishment in the next, I don't know, does it have to take another 20 years? Um, but I love the out of box thinking, like what will we be like? AI just happened like 2 years ago. It feels like that's changed the world so much. But what can technology do? What can our floats look like with digital displays or, you know, being able to simulcast each group to their communities and 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 really grow dance in a way. So if there's a salsa participant who's new to the parade, they're going to sign up and dance with that salsa group, and that's going to grow that community. So actually seeing all the communities grow through this, or continue to grow through this, is going to be really special as well.
And on that note, Greg Miller. Greg Miller, thank you so much for talking to So Booking Cool today. You're So Booking Cool. Dance Parade is So Booking Cool. We're excited. It's happening on May the 16th. What's the best way for everyone to keep in contact and stay updated?
Thanks, Jewel. It's really a pleasure to be here. Danceparade.org is where you can sign up and dance for the parade. You join our newsletter, and then social media. We're all over the place on all of those with the handle Dance Parade NYC and hashtag The Beat Goes On, which is our 2026 theme and marks the 20th year.
Yes, the beat goes on. And thank you so much also to all the viewers and the listeners. Until next time, So Booking Cool.
Thank you.